Day one of the Perth Test match has been filled with ebbs and flow. It started with the Australian openers dominating. Then the second session saw the Indian bowlers make a comeback. The third session has been even Stevens. 2 wickets to the Indian bowlers and then plenty of runs. About 130 is what Australia got in that final session. 277 for 6 in the 90 overs. Ishant Sharma, and who would have guessed, Hanuma Vihari there, the top wicket getter for India, picking up those 2 wickets, giving away 53 runs. Damien Martin, VVS Lakshman, Murli Karthik join me. I know it's a test match, but we'll start with the T20. This is rapid fire. Okay, you got a rate from 1 to 10. Damien, I believe you can hear me. 1 to 10 is the rating scale. You have to give points from 1 to 10 on the questions that I ask you. Who wants to go first?
I told you.
Okay.
So it has to be.
Okay, no, I'll go in the sequence with you,
sure.
him, and then Damien. Okay, India's team selection.
8 on 10.
8 on 10. 10 out of 10.
Team selection 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
This
10
is
out
the
of
team
10.
you would have gone
Yes.
with. Okay, Damien, India's team selection?
7.
7. Okay, Australia's opening partnership?
10 on 10.
9 out of 10.
Damien?
I would go 8.
8. Okay. India's seamers performance?
5 out of 10.
Ah, that's harsh. Okay.
6 out of 10.
6. Damien?
I'll go about 6, yeah. But
6. Okay. Marsh head partnership?
9 on 10.
9. Okay.
6 out of 10.
6. Right, Damien?
7.
7. Okay. Finally, Vihari is bowling. You would have never thought I'm going to ask you that question at the end of day 1 at the Perth Test match.
Look, you have to give him. He's got you 2 wickets.
Yeah,
and that tells you that you still needed a spinner on the surface.
Rating.
8 on 10.
You didn't.
8 on 10. 8 on 10.
Yeah, you never let that one outside the off stump. You needed this opportunity to remind everyone that India needed a spinner. You got a loose ball.
It's not just the first day we're talking about. There are 4 more days.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
8 out. Okay, Damien?
I'm going 10 because I'm
10.
not expecting to get 2 wickets at all.
Yep, that's another perspective. You never expected him to pick any wickets. So 10 out of 10 for Vihari's bowling. Okay, now let's take a look at the day and we'll look back at the 90 overs that were played. All in all, which team do you think would be the happier of the two?
Australia. No doubt about that, because even though they would have been little unhappy that the batsman got to half centuries, not converted that into a century, or the other batsman got a start like Shaun Marsh, not converting that into a big score. Ideally, they should have just lost probably 4 wickets at the end of the day's play. But the way they batted on a placid wicket in Adelaide and against a good bowling attack, today the openers laid the foundation, and I think they will be really happy with the way the batsmen have applied themselves and not allowing the Indian bowlers to dominate. Which everyone expected on this wicket, they would do that.
Damien, 277 for 6. Would the Australian dressing room be the happier of the two?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, let's look back to before the start of play with that wicket. No one knew what it was going to do.
Yeah.
You win the toss, you bat first, and it was a great opening partnership. I mean, it could have gone either way. You know, you lose 3 or 4 by lunch, and you're in trouble. As you know, Biva said that we had 4 players get 50s. I think that's what Justin Langer would be probably disappointed about, that no one went on and got a big score. But at the end of the day, runs on the board, and they're not batting last. We've seen a few cracks, we've seen a few balls do strange things, so always helps getting that. If they get 300, 350, you know, it's been a good day and a half for them.
Okay, both of them agree it's been Australia's day, so to say. But do you think it could have been better for them? If I recall, out of the 6 wickets that have fallen, 4 were to shots that could have been avoided.
Yeah, sometimes the extra bounce does you, isn't it? That's what we saw today. Marcus Harris, when you saw him, was that ball to be cut. He's played that shot well. Yeah. So has Shaun Marsh. He's played that cut shot and the dap shot to perfection. The shot which Travis Head played, you thinking you're driving on the up, but the extra bounce gets you. Look, there are ifs and buts. The same ball goes for a boundary, and sometimes you want to put the pressure back on the bowler. Yeah, you are disappointed as a batsman because you've done all the hard yards and gotten to a stage where you feel that now you can boss the bowling, and then you end up giving a wicket. So from that point of view, definitely. But at the beginning of the day, if somebody said that we are taking, or we are giving you 277, I think they would take it.
Why did you think that happened? Most of them got the starts but couldn't convert it to a big score. Do you think that's happening because your natural game then comes into play? You can be conscious about it for some time that no, I have to be careful on this track, but eventually your instincts take over.
Yeah, but on this track you never settle. you know, because there's awkward bounce, there's uneven bounce, and you cannot trust the bounce, you know. But invariably, a lot of wickets you play in Australia, once you set in, once you get your eye in, you can trust the bounce, you can play through the line. But on this wicket, because of the extra bounce, you will never ever feel that you've got your eye in, you know. And I think that's something which the batsmen have to be mindful. The second thing is it's difficult to start well on this wicket, so it's always going to be tough for a new batsman. So that's extra responsibility on the set batsman to make it count, make it big. And I think it's more to do with the mental error than to do anything with technique, you know, because the shot selection, like even Marcus Harris, yes, there was extra bounce, but it was too close for him to go for the cut. You know, he was withdrawing himself and it was not shot as well. Same with Shaun Marsh, same with Travis Head. You can't play on the rise shot on this wicket where the ball is taking steep bounce. And after lunch, we've seen that the ball was carrying to the wicket keeper. Yeah. So I think you have to be very, very careful about your shot selection, and you have to be mindful that once you get your eye in, it's not your runs, it's the runs you have to score for the team and, you know, for your mates. Okay,
the one person that you'd feel really sorry for in this day of Test cricket would be Mohammad Shami. He looked the best out of the lot, but just has one wicket to show. In fact, that one ball that he bowled deserved, what, 2 wickets in that one ball. That's how good it was.
Yeah, that's what a bowler's life is at the end of the day. You don't have to bowl, you don't have to sometimes bowl well to get wickets, and sometimes you can do everything right and still not end up with a wicket. But having said that, you go out with the mindset that you have to bowl well. I think every time you walk out onto the park, as a bowler, you just tell yourself that, look, I need to bowl well for my team, given the situation, just need to adapt. And if you can do that, and if your mates are happy with you, that's where it stands.
Why do you think Shami looked the best bowler today? Was it the length that he was getting, which the others were? Was he in better rhythm? Why do you think he looked the most menacing?
I think because of the line he was bowling. Okay. Close to the off stump, top of the off stump, and the length, majority of the balls were pitched up. But having said that, I thought even Bumrah bowled brilliantly. Yeah. Especially
the reason I don't mention him, it's a given. You know, he does it so consistently.
That's credit to Bumrah, because in such a short span of time, he's become the leader of the pack, even in Test match cricket. He was a very good T20 and ODI bowler, but now the way he bowled, the leg cutter. We talked about Shami being unlucky. I thought the ball of the day, 2 balls of the day, was to Pat Cummins and one to Tim Paine, where it was a leg cutter. And imagine where Rishabh Pant actually caught that. You know, so from the front, on the front foot, foolish ball, and it's just carrying to the wicket keeper above his head. So I think Bumrah also was very unlucky. I think on this wicket, the fuller you bowl and the more number of balls lands on the seam, the wicket will do something for you. So I think Shami and Bumrah later on were very accurate with the lines.
Let me take that to Damien. He talks about that particular delivery from Jasprit Bumrah. It was a ripper of a ball that you know, he bowled right towards the end of day one's play. Do you think the cracks played a part there, or was it just an unplayable delivery that hit the seam?
Well, it depends. The bowler says he did it all, didn't he? So, But I mean, who knows that wicket? I mean, look, there is cracks there. It is up and down a bit, but and look, today, you know, when you bat on these wickets too, you need to play miss a bit. You need a bit of luck. I mean, we saw that in the first session. In the second session, there were some amazing deliveries from all the bowling group. But as I think we keep going back, you know, what we say about batting on these wickets and getting in. Once you get in, it's so tough to get in that Australian batsmen then didn't go on with it. And I think when they sit back in the rooms and talk to Justin Langer, the coach, they'll just say, we missed an opportunity. If one of those guys had gone on to get 100, then the sort of game changes. We might get 350 or 400, and they didn't do that. But it's going to be that sort of wicket. I think you're going to have to bat on it and just realise that you're going to have some deliveries that are amazing, and you're going to play and miss, and you've got to put that out of your mind and just keep going the next ball.
Is that the reason, because we were talking and looking for reasons rather why the curator could have left so much grass on the pitch? Do you think he knew this track better than most and
he has to? As a curator,
that's his job.
That's his job, and I mean, that's his baby.
This pitch last 5 days, you would need a lot of grass on it for it to be held together?
Yeah, after seeing the way the day transpired, it's very clear that because of the heat, and maybe even though it's drop-in wicket, I feel that every place has got a different character as far as the drop-in wicket is concerned because of the climatic conditions. So I feel that one of the reasons why the curator has left so much of grass is because he was not sure about the cracks. You know, because of the heat, the cracks can open up widely, and it's very evident that today, in the second session itself, whenever the ball was hitting the cracks, there was uneven bounce. One went almost just above the ground level when Marcus Harris was batting, and that ball, which Bumrah also was seeing at the wicket, the way it almost leg cut when he bowled to Tim Paine. So it's clearly that the reason is because of the dryness of the wicket and also because of the heat. He had to leave that grass to bind the wicket.
This is a question for the two of you. I'll start with you. What would this sort of the way the pitch behave have an impact on the Indian batsmen? What would they be thinking now that they go? Because then I'm sure that in their minds they planned for the first innings after having seen the day one of the pitch. What does this uneven bounce do to the thought process of the Indian
Look,
batsmen?
of course, there has been uneven bounce. It's been few and far between. So they have played on tougher surfaces just as recently as Johannesburg. That could hurt you. This is not that kind of a wicket. Yes, the odd ball has to bounce, and so that'll be something they'll be wary of. But again, having said that, as a batsman, you just go and try and play the ball. It's as simple as that. It's not a T20 game that you have to preempt something. You just watch the ball and good old-fashioned play the ball on its merit is what the team would be telling, and the senior, somebody like Virat Kohli stays in the moment. So that's what he would also be telling everyone, that don't think about what's happening or what might happen. It's not. There are no demons right now. Okay,
how would you prepare for it? Would you tell yourself, no, that there is uneven bounce and I'm not going to go onto the back foot? Or do you tell yourself, no, let me play the natural game. If we get that, one ball that stays low, so be it.
No, I think you'll not be thinking about you'll get one ball. If it's low, then so be it. That's a negative way to approach your batting. Okay. I think you'll still stick to your game plan, which is to always be ready for the full ball, so that your balance of your body and biomechanics will be perfect, and then you can easily rock back and play on the back foot or go forward and transfer your body weight to play the shots. But the second thing, which is very important, is to know where your off stump is, and also know a length from where you can leave the balls, even though the length or the line is stump line. Because if you're looking to play and for long periods of time, you have to also leave the deliveries a lot. And once you start leaving, you almost force the bowlers to do something different, whether it be in trying to make you play the shot. They may try to pitch the ball up. You can convert that into an over pitch ball, or in trying to make sure it's a bouncer or a short pitch delivery attacking your body. You can play the pull shot or the square of the wicket on the offside. But knowing the length from where you can leave the ball will be very crucial when you're playing on these kind of wickets.
Yeah, and the Australian batsmen did that rather well. Also because they're used to such bouncy conditions. Some of them have played at bouncy conditions like Perth. Maybe not on this particular stadium, but they exactly knew when to leave the ball. Even in good length deliveries, they were leaving, and it worked really well for some of them. But talking about the lengths and the line that the Indian bowlers were bowling, and this is a comparison through the day. This is the lengths that they bowled. Karthik, I'll take it to you. Do you see any notable difference? I mean, we did see them improve over the session. The first session probably was the worst for them, and then going forward, they did improve on that.
Look, to the naked eye, I thought that the second session was possibly the best. And as we spoke, whatever markings are done. And for me, the second session was, how do you put it? There were some good moments, and there were some moments when they reverted back to that length, which was not ideal. It looks good, but it's not the ideal length. So it was a sort of a mixed day, and that's why I gave what I gave to the seamers. We mentioned this. At Adelaide, there was not too much for the bowlers, but they stuck to a line, they stuck to a discipline. They hardly gave anything away. And when that happens and you get wickets bang bang and the score moves nowhere. But today, if you look at it, it's over 3 on a surface which had something in it. We're talking about uneven bounce. We're talking about the grass on the surface. We're talking about a 4-pronged seam attack. So the disciplines were not as good as what they were in Adelaide, in conditions which were more suitable to fast bowlers.
Do you think the reason why these things can look different, as he's talking about, to the naked eye, I thought the second session was the best, yet we see that the good length deliveries were less in the second session? Maybe because you tend to remember the good balls. Maybe the good balls that were bowled in second session were much more than the ones that bowled in first session, because this stat is basically an aggregate of all deliveries bowled, and that is why this discrepancy comes up.
Yeah, and especially the way they bowled in the first session, and to come back and bowl with that kind of discipline and accuracy in the second session, it was very evident, that they've rectified the lengths, and as Karthik mentioned during the lunch break, I'm sure that the team management must have spoken to Virat and the bowlers to alter the line, alter the length, and they were much more effective. But I also feel that however effective you may be, the batsmen sometimes, if they get into good position, even a good ball may look like an ordinary ball, but if they get into bad position like the way they did in Adelaide, even ordinary ball looks very, very effective. So I have to give credit to the Australian batsmen, the way they batted today, the way they applied themselves and played a lot more high percentage shots than what they showed in Adelaide.
Okay, lest I keep asking you all the questions, we've got some questions coming in from the viewers as well who are watching our broadcast. This is Divij Gala. He wants to know, did bowling part-timers due to slow over rate cost India valuable runs? Should I take that to Damien? Damien, you want to take that question? Did bowling part-timers due to slow over rate cost India valuable runs?
They got a couple of wickets, didn't they? So
yes.
I'll take that off Kohli. So, but look, I think you have to. If you've got 4 seamers, you've got to get 3 overs somehow. And, you know, that's where a part-timer's got to come into it. So it does. I mean, nowadays, you know, teams are trying to bowl their overs in time and they struggle.
Talking about Hanuma Vihari picking up those wickets, I know that batting is essentially the reason why he's in the team, but does it sometimes help? Let me ask a part-time off-spinner in VVS Lakshman. Does it help if you pick up 2 wickets, that confidence when you go out to bat?
Well, it should not. I mean, getting wickets as a part-timer is a bonus, but when you know that you're picked as primarily as a batsman, you know that your task is cut out, you know, and that the wickets you pick up, you feel elated and happy that you've contributed to a team, but when you're out there, you know that you're out there to score runs, you know, and you have to just trust your batting abilities, you have to trust your game plan and just go out and play to the best of your abilities. So I don't think that this will add confidence to him, but I'm sure that he'll feel really happy that he's contributed, especially on a day when there is no specialist spinner. Okay. Especially on a day when 4 fast bowlers are playing and there was a role given to him, and picking 2 wickets and 2 crucial wickets, 2 set batsmen, it was a real bonus for Team India.
Let me reverse that question. Did it work for you the day you got some runs before you got on to bowl? If you got some runs, maybe the ball landed better?
I was not a part-time batsman.
Okay.
Neither I was a part-time bowler then.
You never bowled.
Okay.
I've opened more times.
No.
I've opened more times than Lakshman.
Okay.
He was a frontline batsman, technically correct.
Now I agree with that answer. He was on the front foot.
Always.
You know, drove me through the front foot, bang behind the bowler. So back to 4 runs. Okay, more questions coming in for the viewers. This one is from Jackson Sparrow. Sir Jack Sparrow, if you please. What should be a good total in this bouncy wicket? Okay, Martin, to you, good total on this track, whatever little you've seen of it?
I think they'd take anything, take 500 if they could, but they won't. Look,
That's a
I think over 300, they'll be good. 350, I think tomorrow Justin Langer would say to them, look, you know, if we can get another 80 runs, 4 wickets, that's a good first innings total on this wicket when we see it sort of playing some tricks going forward. And I think they'll be pretty happy with that.
Okay, 500. He's a typical batsman, you know, talking.
No, 350, not
350. Okay, 350. He's happy with 350. Okay, another question we'll take from the viewer, that is from Jiten Chandrana, and he wants to know, was Kohli's captaincy a bit too defensive? He employed a deep point at times when he could have had an extra slip fielder. VVS Lakshman, all yours.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I mentioned to you off air also, and couldn't understand because the plan of the bowler, especially after lunch session, was to pitch the ball up, and there was no cover when Harris cover drove Shami, and there was a deep point which was more finer, and so I think it's very important to back up the bowler's plan with field settings, you know, and I found definitely it was not up to the mark. And also when Anscombe came into bat, Vihari just got the wicket of Harris, and easily Anscombe was able to rotate the strike of Vihari. So I think it's important to put fielders which can build pressure on the batsman. If you give easy runs on this wicket, whether it's boundary or whether it's singles, then the batsman won't feel the pressure, or even the bowler in trying to create pressure will not be able to achieve success in doing that. So I think today I felt that the field placements could have been much better.
Okay, something that Virat Kohli can work on. Okay, another question then we've got for our experts. Sharma wants to know, is Jasprit Bumrah the best all-format bowler in the world at present? Kartik.
You have to give it to him. I think the way he is adapted to everything, he's obviously #1 in terms of the white ball format, and also the way he has come and lapped up Test cricket and the way he's bowled. So yeah, you have to say he's one of the best going around.
Okay, we've got more questions coming in. Plenty of people watching the broadcast, so we'll get another one there from Hassan Zarun, and he wants to know why Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is not playing. India's tail is too long. What do you guys think? You are not going to answer that because you made that point. Okay.
Million times now.
He's made it through the day.
Yeah, and I've also made it through the day, but I'll answer. I think I felt that Bhuvi should have played ahead of Umesh Yadav, not necessarily only for his batting, but the variety he gets into this bowling department, because Umesh and Shami are very similar in the way they approach their bowling or the way they bowl, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar has got the ability to swing the ball in the air. So that would have been a different variety and variation as far as the Indian bowling lineup is concerned. Yes, his batting is very handy. I still remember we talked so much about the Joburg win, and Bhuvi contributed not only with the ball but he contributed with the bat as well. So in a match like this, when you're playing on a wicket which can get challenging for the batsman, the contribution from each and every batsman, whether it's a tail-ender or lower order or the top order batsman, will be very, very important. So, but I definitely felt that Bhuvi could have played ahead of Umesh Yadav.
Let me get Damien's view also, because we never got his detailed views on Indian team selection. Of course, I asked him how many points he would like to give them. He was rather generous. But Bhuvneshwar Kumar, do you think that swing bowler would have been more effective than hit the deck sort of a bowler that Umesh is?
Yeah, but I think, like as we heard there, I think it's about the all-round, batting as well, and a bit of variation in the attack. But I suppose it depends on different teams. Depends on what Kohli would like in his team. What makes him feel comfortable as captain to swap it around? Whether he wants the 4 quicks, the spinner, or that sort of different type of bowler who can bat a bit. It's a hard one. It's always, we can look now in and say what should be the way it should go. But I think the captain he just needs to feel comfortable what he wants. I think 4 quicks is tough because in the heat and on these sort of wickets, you do want slow bowlers. You want a spinner as well that comes in to sort of help the situation. They bowled first today. They had 4 quicks, and if you have 4 quicks, you really want to be bowling the side out. So I think he'll be a little bit disappointed in that, but variation is always good.
Okay, I'm just trying to hazard a guess. Looking at the trend that Virat usually picks up the team, he has a fascination for real, genuinely quick bowlers. Or throughout, if you look at his captaincy career, could that have been the reason that tilted the scales in favour of Umesh?
Look, I'm not a mind reader, and
I
don't think there's a pattern there. But yes, definitely somebody like a Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Every time he's picked up wickets, he's not played the next test match. I think that's one pattern which I've seen.
Okay. We'll check on that.
Yeah, you can check that. That's just my gut feel. I could be completely million miles off the mark, but this is just out of what I can think or remember. And also, I think it's just a notion which everyone has that he can only perform in conditions. What was it? First game of the test match in South Africa, he bowled well. Next game, he wasn't picked because Ishant was picked, and then again Bhuvneshwar Kumar was back, and again he got wickets. So it's been, or against Sri Lanka, obviously he had to go for his match. So there are quite a few instances where he has picked up or bowled well and then not picked. And today, just for the fact that if you're giving him a green track, if you want to pick the 4th seamer, I think he comes ahead of anyone else because of the fact that he's always going to be there. Just like Bumrah, who can come and bowl the 3rd spell, the 4th spell, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Unless and until if he's unfit because he's coming back off an injury and people feel that he's not 100% fit, then it's a different scenario. But otherwise, he walks in for me every time.
Sure. Do you notice a trend every captain in the history of cricket would have their own likes and dislikes that they believe in?
Yeah, I think the thought process of picking Umesh ahead of Bhuvi must have been the wicket, the conditions, and also the reputation of Umesh, who did well last time when India played against Australia at the WACA, where he got, I think, 4 or 5 wickets. But again, on this wicket, which assists the fast bowlers, Umesh has got that X factor as far as pace is concerned. But having said that, Bhuvneshwar Kumar on this wicket would have been more effective than Umesh, for the simple reason that someone who can swing the ball will be more tougher for a batsman to play than someone who is just bowling quick or who's extracting bounce. So I would have definitely preferred Bhuvi ahead of Umesh, but I think that might be the thought process as far as selection of Umesh is concerned.
Right. As I said, every captain has his own way of picking a team, things that he believes in, and goes by that. At the end of the day, he's also answerable whether the team wins or loses. Okay, another question. We've got someone who's watching our telecast, and this is for Damien Martin. Divij again wants to know, why is it that all Western Australia players end up debuting for Australia around the age of 27? Damien?
true stat? I'm not sure. maybe the last ones that came through. I mean, in the old days, they're a bit younger than that. But look, I think there's no real reason. It's just the system as well of, you know, coming through. I think it's not a bad age to debut. You know, early on you learn your career, you learn your first class cricket, you learn your game as well. Or you become like a Mike Hussey and get in when you're really old, over 30.
Okay, stay on with us, gentlemen. We'll look ahead to day 2 as well. But now our special segment, Undiscover Australia, brought to you by Tourism Australia. And our host Shibani met up with Brad Hogg in Perth. Let's see what they're up to.
Here we are in Perth. I'm here to meet Brad Hogg and he's showing me the city from a bird's eye view.
Well, let's not hold up. Let's get in the chopper and go and have a look at Perth. Wow, this is awesome. And we're going to get to see the old whacker over there. What a fantastic cricket stadium. Amazing.
So beautiful.
Over there we've also got the new stadium, and that's where India are going to take on Australia in the test match this year. Whoa!
When you look down at these grounds, can you believe that you started your journey as a postman?
No, I started my journey as a farmer and crutching sheep and working on the farm. When I moved to Perth, I was travelling up from the farm. But when I decided that I had to live in Perth, that was about 23, that's where I got the job as a postman, and I started studying for life after cricket. So I studied marketing and accounting. I thought accounting would help me on the farm, and if I ever made it in cricket, marketing would help me promote a product.
And those careers could not be more different from each other. Wow, Trent, that was amazing.
That was fantastic.
The chopper takes us to the quaint port city of Fremantle.
We're in Fremantle. We've got Fremantle Tours, young Michael with us.
So on our right hand side we have Common Ground. They're all local designers from WA. After a brief visit into one of our gorgeous boutique shops, we're going to get some caffeine, because that's very important.
Definitely.
Yeah, what sort of coffee do you drink?
Cappuccino Street
Yeah.
area.
Strip.
Sorry, Cappuccino Strip.
I only have English breakfast tea.
English
I can't
breakfast
have.
tea, you don't have too much caffeine?
I can't have coffee.
We're going to get our coffee to go. We're going to walk around, but of course we brought our own cups, so we're going to enjoy those to run away. So we're going to duck into this gorgeous venue just here.
Beautiful wall.
Corner building down there, I also worked for a farming conglomerate. So that was a couple of years ago.
So with the 15, 20 jobs that you had, how old are you actually?
I'll be 47. 47 and 3/4. Here we go.
And this is a favourite spot to bring locals and visitors alike, because it's a bit of a pinch yourself spot is how I put it, because you stand here and go, wow, this is in the middle of our city. It really sums up our culture that we're so ingrained with the ocean and beach culture. So we're so lucky to have it all together. So that's a great way to say goodbye. Thank you so much for having me.
We had an amazing time with Michael, and in the next episode, we're off for some adventure sports.
Wow, what an exciting way to explore the city. I didn't know that Fremantle, is that the place that the wind gets its name from?
Yes, that's right. Especially when you're playing at the Wacker. Close to tea session, post tea session, the bowlers will enjoy bowling with the wind.
Nothing on offer here, unfortunately.
Yeah,
the
it's
new
all
stadium
closed.
means no wind is going to get in. Okay, That was an exciting way to explore the city. Now we're going to explore the scorecard of these three gentlemen that I have with me on this particular show, because we're looking at their results of how they perform. This is called Fab 4. We asked them to pick their 4 players they thought would get the maximum points on day 1 of the test match, and let's see how they performed. We'll start with Murali Karthik, and he picked these 4, Khwaja, Harris, Shami and Bumrah, with a total of 115 points. He's been actually our leader of the day. At 5 under, but let's see how he's performed at the end of the day. Okay, let's see VVS Lakshman next. 115 is the benchmark that Murali Karthik has said, and VVS had 2 different players in his team. He's 75 points, not bad from where you were at one point.
Yep.
You know, I think till T was 5 or something to 75. He's made up a bit. Okay, and let's see the final contestant, Damien Martin. Let's see how he's done up until now. He had a completely different team, and 102 is pipped to the 2nd spot. Okay, right behind Murali Karthik. So that's the leaderboard. Then 115 points.
But day 1 is done.
Day 1 is done. You're the winner of day 1, but of course we're going to collate the total towards the end of the test match. Let's see who does how, and this is it. 115 the leaderboard. Murali Karthik right on top, Damien Martin 102, and VVS Lakshman with 75. VVS, don't be disheartened, you have a chance to make up. We're looking ahead to day 2. Who would be your 4 players?
Oh, okay. 4 players will be again Bumrah. I'll go with Virat Kohli.
Okay.
I'll go with KL Rahul. And I'll go with Hazelwood.
Interesting. Okay, Murali Karthik. Remember, KL Rahul does better in 2nd innings than first.
No,
just a tip.
I'm just thinking where do we stand? I'll go with Ishant tomorrow. Virat, M Vijay, and Josh Hazelwood.
Interesting that both of you have picked an Indian bowler. Not much to play for, because I mean just got 4 wickets, so I mean maybe a wicket or 2 is at best that they can give you on day 2. Okay, we've still gone with an Indian bowler. Damien Martin, your 4?
I'm going to go Stark and Hazelwood tomorrow, and I always do 2 and 2, and I'm going to go Kohli and Vijay.
Kohli and Vijay, okay.
Kohli make some runs this series.
Absolutely, Virat Kohli, the common theme there. Okay, now looking ahead to day 2, that thorn in India's flesh, again, it is that man, Cummins, getting all the runs. He's looking good on day 1 too.
Yeah, and I think a credit to his technique and his determination, because if we saw that even in Adelaide, I've seen that in the past. I think when Australia toured India in Ranchi, just not contributed with the ball but also with the bat. And I think all the Indian batsmen should learn, from the way they've applied themselves on the last day in the Adelaide Test match, because you can have all the talent, you can have all the skill, but it's important to show that fight, and that's what the last half an hour, 45 minutes you've seen from Pat Cummins. When Bumrah with the 2nd new ball was attacking him, you could see him solid in his defense, and also the temperament he was exhibiting to just stay and build a partnership with his captain. So that's very important. It's not only about technique, it's about how you apply yourself and how you approach your innings.
David, should we look at Cummins differently? We keep looking at him as a bowler who can just about bat, but as VVS was saying, his technique is rather good, so he's a capable enough batsman.
He certainly is, and I think you've got to look at the players nowadays at the back end too, like that. Don't just expect you're going to run in and get wickets. They can be dangerous. They'll play a few more shots, and you take it easy. And tomorrow's a hard one, isn't it? India they'll be thinking about their batting as well. There'll be 4 wickets to get. So if Australia then can drag it out and maybe get to lunch, or that first hour sort of frustrate India, then it becomes a bit tougher. But yeah, I mean, Cummins, I think nowadays you see these players where they're bowlers who now can bat, and if they can contribute 30 or 40 runs, it makes a huge difference.
Okay, we've got a question coming in from a viewer. I'll take that question to Murali Karthik. We're looking ahead, remember, to day 2 of the 2nd test match, and Jiten wants to know, what should Indian batsman plan be tomorrow? Leave the ball outside off stump, or if you're going to flash hard?
See, that's an old saying, if you want to go flash hard, but most important thing for these 2 batsmen, especially at the top of the order, is that they give a great start to India, which has been missing. 11.66 was the best, or their average, before they got that 63 in the 2nd innings, which has pushed them to 16.33 or whatever. So that is something which they want to correct, because both of them are very good players outside India. So for them, and for somebody like Murali Vijay, his strength is that he knows where his off stump is. That has that has to come back, and even KL Rahul. So if they want to be there, and as everyone's been saying, it's tough to start. If you want to be there, you need to leave the ball outside the off stump.
Okay, the Indian batsmen will, of course, remember the Indian bowlers have to do the job first. Get those 4 wickets, something that they haven't been able to do in that first test match. Get the tail out. Okay, we've got another question, and this is the final question of our show. Another fan writing in. This is Rajiv. He wants to know, Rishabh Pant a good future commentator? We'll take the most experienced commentator that we have with us. Can he be a future commentator, Rishabh Pant?
All I can say is he can be entertaining.
He can be entertaining. You enjoyed his commentary stints from behind the stump?
No, I was just watching it on mute.
Okay, not a big fan. But David, I'll take that question. I believe he's created a lot of buzz in Australia. Again, Australian media has been writing about that lip service that he's been giving from behind the stump.
No, I think you're fine. Go for it. He can say as much as he wants. I think, but nowadays, I think the media and that, they talk it around. But look, the keepers, they do that, and I think there should be some chat on the field. It's they want everybody being quiet, so they can always turn the stump mic down, can't they? Well, they turned up sometimes. Maybe when he's up the stumps, they turned up for him.
Yes, they did. In fact, they did it on day 1 of the first test match after that clip of his went viral, which was in the first test match. But at the end of the day, what Rishabh Pant needs to remember, he needs to let his bat do all the talking, and he will be up for another test when the Indian team come out to bat on day 2 of the test match. VVS Lakshman, Murli Karthik and Damian Martin, thanks so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to your company on day 2. We'll see you again. You are watching ESPN Cricket for Match Day.